This is Josh Briggs. Chances are I don't like you.
And this is the retrosexual Anthony Greene, and you are listening to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast.
You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast with your host, Mark Madison. This episode's guest is Josh Briggs and Anthony Greene. Visit ProWrestlingPost.com for interviews, blogs, and upcoming events in your area. You can also find the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Anchor, or whatever podcast app you prefer. And now, here's your host, Mark Madison.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. This is a very special edition. We actually have not one, but two Massachusetts-based wrestlers, and very familiar to Pro Wrestling Post. This is kind of, it almost feels like a reunion because we've connected a couple years ago. So kind of turn the clock back a little bit. When I had a chance to speak to Anthony Greene, he was all good. Now he's all great with look at that.
Wow.
There you go. And Mr. Briggs he still didn't like me then. He probably still doesn't like me now.
You're all right now.
Okay. Your careers have gone like exponentially further than probably you had thought maybe at that point.
Yeah, we're multimillionaires.
But one company, Evolve, has kind of been part of your life right now.
Yeah, of course. Especially for him too. He had like a really big WrestleMania weekend where he signed the contract for the WWN family. But a little over a year ago, I debuted with Evolve, and that helped me exponentially, man. Like that sent me through the roof as far as independent wrestling goes.
Oddly enough, both of our first official weekends with the company was the famous Midwest Loop, where I got to experience the incredible fans right outside of Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, legit, probably one of the best crowds I've ever wrestled in front of.
Yeah. So maybe for those that aren't as abreast to it, maybe you could bring them up to speed with what happened and how that loop took place or what happened specifically.
Oh, yeah. So, if we're going to go back real far, I grabbed a balloon. That kind of started it all for me, and then I was given the opportunity to wrestle for a contract at the WWN Super Show Mercury Rising 2019, and I beat 6 other competitors in a 7-person elimination match. And then from there, I was offered the contract. I found out the first weekend I was going to be working with them was May. Very lucky that I got to travel with my travel buddy, Josh Briggs, so we weren't alone on a flight. And he kind of guided me through the first loop, and we got to hang out with our buddy Jake.
Oh, Jake Clemens, the ref. He's the best ref ever.
4-hour ride with him, and Lenny Leonard. And it was just overall a great first experience for me, and I'm sure it was for you last year.
Yeah, last year, that was the locker room was so different at Evolve over a year ago now. And pretty much everyone that was in the locker room was a really close friend of mine before I'd gotten to Evolve based on my history with Beyond Wrestling.
Right.
And pretty much all of them are signed to the WWE now. So, I guess it's kind of like there's a trend showing as to where everyone ended up. But that was very special for me, and there was a sense of purpose as to why I was there, and it's only gone uphill now. Every trip with Evolve is something that it's very special for me. It's my company now, and I hold it very near and dear to my heart.
Well, what's different about the locker room per se? Like, is it personality types? Is it relationships? Is it?
So now, this could be just my perception of it and like me being where I'm at now. But when I first got to Evolve, it was like top tier independent wrestlers that were like on the cusp of making as much money as they wanted, signing wherever they wanted. And now, to me, it seems like it's a lot of guys who are about to break through that cusp and need to get like that one little match or moment or segment that'll put them into that scenario. But that also could be me not really realizing that the people that I'm around, and myself included, are that new level of top tier independent wrestler. I'm not sure. I don't know which one it is, but it's we had Riddle and Keith and Stokely and so many of these good guys. Walter, Hot Sauce, and they were all like my best buds and like travel buddies, and they all left, and now it's like me and Theory and AG and Kingston. So I don't know if it's I don't know if we're taking over that top tier or what it is.
I think bouncing off what you're saying, like last year you were in the shoes that I'm in now, but you were the only guy in those shoes.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like it's like a real competitive locker room now, because I'm not the only new guy that signed. The guy that I wrestled with, Stephen Wolf, him and I killed it in Detroit, and that got him a contract. Kurt Stallion had one weekend in New York. He killed it. He got signed 2 months later.
Yeah.
They signed Leon Rupp. Like, everyone is getting picked up.
It's a really good point.
So it's like, you were the one new guy in there, which I'm sure is like tough being.
Yeah, I mean, it was like
new kid in school.
It was like the guy who had a lot of potential, who had like a possible future with all of these like studs. And now we're rebuilding. We're bringing in the top tier.
Yeah.
The new crop of the best wrestlers on the planet.
Well, now with your characters and what you bring, a lot of controversies kind of circled this week, not necessarily for Evolve, but creative freedom and being able to be yourself and without feeling like you're bound by it. Do you feel like this is going to be something that more the independents that are being signed are going to fight more for? And that, because it's not necessarily just about money, and it's not just about exposure, it's artistic, because you guys are artists in every sense of the word. It's not just a sport, it's entertainment. So what's your voice on that?
I mean, I'm just going to say this, and then you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, for me, like, the people who are just like, oh, I need my artistic freedom, and like, I don't care about the money, that's it's a little weird to me. You can't go into work and talk to your boss and say, hey man, I need to turn my work in when the hell I want my work to be turned in, and you're still going to pay me what I want you to pay me. We got a very good luxury of asking what we want for our job. So it's our job to do what the promoter says. You want to lose. Don't sit there and complain about losing.
Yeah.
But AG, take it away, because he's probably got a better answer than me.
For me, like when it comes to like freedom and expression, like I'm not all artsy about it and like, oh no, I need to be able to paint the canvas the way I want. But I am very much like, they're not telling me who to be. I'm being who I am, and that's what got me noticed.
Right.
So there's no reason why they should change what I'm doing.
Right.
If that's what's working, let's keep it going. And I think that's how he's picking up on people. He's not telling Kurt Stallion, hey, you can't be the Lone Star. You can't be the Kurt Stallion you are. He's not telling Brandy Lauren, like, hey, you need to be smiling this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, we're being exactly who we are when we show up. He legit, he as in pronouns, pal, right? That's a podcast thing. Josh here, he legit has a very close-knit circle in wrestling. He comes in, he says his hellos because that's a professional thing to do, but 90% of the time, he's just going to be on his own doing his thing. Me, on the other hand, I feel like I'm kind of a social butterfly. That's what I present in the ring is who I am in the locker room. It's who I am right now.
Right. And he being Gabe Spilsky.
And Gabe has become not just my boss, but a very close buddy of mine, and a mentor.
Yeah.
Without Gabe, I would probably be stuck in a rut of not knowing who I am. And there was a really good conversation I had with him. It was one of my first weekends, and he told me that I have the caliber to be a main event wrestler. But main event wrestlers, the guys who make the money, are the guys who know what their character will do at every moment in every match, no matter what the situation is. And after that, I sat down and I really poked and pried and prodded and tried to figure out who I was with him guiding me and figuring out, like, especially for me, I know it's different for AG because he has such an eccentric character, and it's something so tangible, and you see him, you know it instantly. I have a sort of thing like that, but it took me a long time to figure out who I am as a human being, just normal Josh.
Yeah.
And then to evolve that into the character that is Josh Briggs now, that I think like there's still so much evolving to go, no pun intended, but with Gabe, he's really figured out who I am and led me to the right path, I think.
Okay. Well, and at the same time, the most successful characters are yourself turned up to 11, right? So where did the transition from All Good to Retrosexual? For those that maybe haven't been following, because I'm following the referee turned All Good, and then I flip the switch, and I'm like, I have to make sure that I'm the same Facebook friend as the person that I thought I was, and this change and evolution. But you said it's a lot of you. How did that come about?
You saying it was like a flip of a switch. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
In like mid-late 2017, probably close around the time we did the interview, I was like, I'm not going to say I was on the verge of quitting wrestling, but I thought about it. I was like, I'm just too far into it. Nothing's going on for me. I'll get opportunities, but nothing's coming of them after the fact. I had a long talk with a few people in a group chat. They said, you're not as jacked as Brian Cage, you're not as athletic as AR Fox, but you have a lot of character. What can you do to separate yourself from everyone else? And as a complete, just on a whim, I said, what about the retrosexual? And I didn't have any explanation for it right away until it piqued interest. And I said, I like it. What is that? And I had answers right away. So I actually just did a podcast recently where I hate when people say, it's super cliche, one day you're just gonna wake up and you're gonna get it. It's gonna click for you. But they have no explanation how or why. But it's the truest thing in the world. That day I woke up, it popped in my head, I had ideas for it, and I think the most important thing was I didn't let it simmer. This was December 2017, and I didn't sit on the idea. I just went out. I think Josh was the first person, or one of the first people I sent the picture to. I just went to the barber, shaved a mustache on my face, and while some people were like, oh my God, what did you do? His response, quote, was, I love it, don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. So or he said it was awesome, same idea, paraphrasing a little bit. And then there's just I think I needed a lot of that positivity, I guess, and push. Because there were plenty of times, I had the worst gut feeling in my stomach when I first started doing it.
What was it about it?
It was just why do I have to be this character? Why can't I just be the wrestler I want to be? Why is this going to help me? Why can't I see, just to use a few guys, Christian Casanova has really found something character. He gets to just be the badass he wants to be. Josh just gets to be the ass kicker he wants to be. Why do I have to be this flamboyant, fun character? I could wrestle. I'm a good wrestler. Let me just wrestle. But at the same time, I was told, sorry for making this so long-winded, I was told that my character could make a lot of money in wrestling, but could never be a main eventer. Which I think I've proved wrong. And also, we all know what pro wrestling is. It's a show. Wins,
kayfabe.
Oh brother, wins don't matter. Belts are props. The only way to decide whether or not you're a great pro wrestler is based on money. So if I can make a ton of money wrestling,
do it.
And it's because I have a mustache and I make people dance like it's 1992, then that's what I'm going to do.
Well, do it well. And that's exactly what the both of you guys have been doing.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra, PWX, Over the Top, Shine, and hundreds of others with fresh content added every day for only $5.99 per month. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
Where we are here in Toronto, first time competing for Smash?
First time.
Smash, second time wrestling in Toronto.
Oh, this is my millionth time.
Well, because I know you've done some shows with Beyond. Beyond and then Greektown, I think they collaborated.
To Infinity and Beyond.
Yes, we previewed that. We previewed that on the show on the website. But how did you find your experience?
Tonight
and here
was great. It's something outsider's perspective, and by outsider I mean American. Smash was something that's very unique and very neat in the production, the lighting, the crowd interaction, the professional wrestlers on the show, the booking, everything is a step above most in America, and it was something that it was one of those bucket listers that I wanted to get off, and there's not many bucket listers I have, it's great. It was really one of my favorite experiences in Canada.
Yeah, hopefully the opportunity kind of presents itself. I don't want to toot any horns, but I know if I've had a chance to, promote and say, Anthony Greene, Josh Briggs, they need to come up here. Who's the one guy that you need to, or guys, they need to come? I made sure to try and make that known that you guys are a special talent. You're not far. And when we say not far, friends being Limitless Wrestling and in Maine. And how did this kind of all come full circle? How did the connection between, because there's some guys that are regulars with Smash, that are with Randy and on the show, and the Buffalo Boys, and how have those experiences been? And you've got some things going on between, I guess, Limitless, and so how did the connectivity to come here happen?
For me, I think it's the fact that last year was kind of the coming out party for the retrosexual, and this year I kind of solidified my spot in indie wrestling, and I've been getting a lot of really awesome opportunities. And I think Smash just saw that and saw what I was doing in Beyond, and they're entertained with what I'm doing in Limitless Wrestling. And I think it just kind of worked out right that they wanted the retrosexual and the Platinum Honeys act as a whole, and they gave me a cool little package deal today, and had a lot of fun with Evil Uno, first time ever match, so that was pretty cool for me.
I mean, for me, it's a little bit different. I've been talking with Sebastian for a long time, and it's always, this is a lot of professional wrestlers, it's the, I got these dates for you. Oh, I'm sorry, I've already taken these dates, or there was an Evolve date that I couldn't come up for. Blah blah blah. But what really solidified it, and what I think really made Sebastian want to get me here as a necessity, was I wrestled for FLQ in Montreal, and I was I don't know why. I mean, me and him had a great match, but before this, PCO, it was his last match, and the promoters asked him who he wanted to wrestle, and he said it had to be Josh Briggs. Give him any amount of money you want. Wow. And I met Sebastian for the first time, and he stuck around and watched the match, and we got to talk shop for a little bit, and it all kind of clicked at that moment, and then we lined up this date. Oh, fantastic. And friends coming together in one night. The Northern, I think the intention of the Northern is to kind of be the Canadian version of the Bola, really. So and I think second year running, big names came out this year.
Boy Dragon.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That doesn't happen every day. No. So, we're just past the midway point of 2019. Where do you see the evolution continuing for Josh Briggs?
I'm pretty much, my goals, I'm going to win the Evolve Championship, and then I'm going to sign a contract with the WWE, and then I'm going to take over the world. That's
you shoot for the moon, man. Light amongst the stars, as they say, right?
Yeah. For me, same thing. I'm gonna win the Evolve Championship and then get to take over the world. No, but in all seriousness,
Northern Hemisphere.
Of course. I'm really excited for what I'm doing in Evolve. I think it's gonna be really awesome. Just all the talent's incredible. Like I said, with all the new guys that are now signing, all the new guys coming in, it's a legit. It's a competition. Everyone in the locker room is incredibly competitive. Not to mention a lot of the other guys that have been there forever are so helpful as well. And hopefully down the line you're going to see me in the ring with an NXT guy, maybe a Velveteen Dream. Josh got to wrestle not only Cassius Ohno this year, but Johnny Gargano as well. So an opportunity like that for me would be huge, especially on such a stage like Evolve.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra, PWX, Over the Top, Shine, and hundreds of others with fresh content added every day for only $5.99 per month. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
You've got TV production as opposed to not having that in other indie promotions. Is there a way that you prepare for one as opposed to another? Do you make sure that you're focused towards hard cam? Do you make sure that your moves just kind of flow fluently, or
it's pretty much how you'd expect. You're working more towards a camera. If you're on the ground selling, there's a roaming cam. Give a good face to the roaming cam. If you're up on your feet, you're working towards hard cam. There's sometimes some opportunities where you want to go to the crowd, especially like the biggest side of the crowd that's on the opposite hard cam side. But I mean, we prepare everything as if it was WrestleMania. You know?
Yeah.
Gabe has us all run through pretty much everything beforehand to make sure there's no flubs. And
I've seen him go over entrances just to make sure.
My debut in Chicago over a year ago, I think I went through my entrance probably 7 times with my song, and then Gabe finally decided we liked this one, and now it's completely different.
Wow. Yeah. Now, when you are preparing and running through everything, what maybe take us through the trip through your minds and what's going through as you're preparing the character, as you're presenting it. What changes from take to take to take to getting to number 7 that works, or 12, or whatever it is? What is it that you feel the nuances that stands out, makes one better than the other?
I have my my thing that I do myself, but
ritual?
I'll let him start. And I think this is a very good. If there's any professional wrestlers listening, I'll pass a little bit of knowledge on. But you go ahead first.
Yeah. So for me, it's honestly kind of simple. Who I am right now is who I am when I go to the ring. At like a flip of a switch, 1 second I'm on one side of the curtain, and I'm just Anthony Greene. Once I step through that curtain, the retrosexuals is in the house, and it's literally flip of the switch.
For me, so when I was trying to figure out who Josh Briggs was, once upon a time, I started doing research into acting, and there's a lot of things that actors do to portray characters, and one of the questions is, why are you doing everything? So every spot that I have in my head, before I go out there, why am I doing this?
Right.
Why am I doing this? Why would my character do this? And then it evolves into, why am I wrestling? Then it evolves into, what do I need? What does Josh Briggs need? And then what does Josh Briggs want? And then it all comes together. Yeah, and that's something that it took me not a long time, but a decent amount of time to figure out all of those reasons, and every match is a little different. Tonight, my reason as to what I wanted to win the tournament. What I needed to perform at the highest caliber possible, and I needed a fight. And I think the way you build that story in your mind and that character necessity all kind of flows into the match, and that's how a real story is told in a match. But that's what I do.
I actually brought something up. So I listened to an interview with, is it Matt Stone? The creators of South Park.
Yes, Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Yep,
Matt Stone.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and they did an interview, and they asked how they put a South Park episode together. And I think it goes so well with my character, or just any character in general, in a match, where, let's say, Butters buys a ninja sword. Instead of because this happened, it's always therefore this happened.
Okay.
And it's just an easier way to tell the story, and everything just kind of goes together better.
Keeps moving along.
So Josh Briggs wants to win the North, therefore he has to wrestle so-and-so. Therefore this, because of this, you know?
So everything kind of has a trickle down effect.
Yes.
Okay, they're all interwoven. Super. Before I do let you guys go, because I know you've probably got a long enough trek on your way, and I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like.
Don't say that. We have the worst luck driving home from Canada.
Oh, geez.
Every time.
Ice storms in April. It's the worst.
Yeah, I can't control the weather. I'm sorry, I wish I could. But before we let you go, we do a little game. We've done it before on the podcast. We call it Wrestling Tinder. If you like the topic, you swipe right. If you don't, you swipe left. Okay. But again, now that there's two of you, if the one person swipes right, the other person has to agree, even if they don't necessarily like the topic.
Cool.
Okay,
I'll let Josh be the swiper.
Okay.
I just want to say before this, if there's any potential podcasters out there that want to start their own podcast, do something creative like this, because I hate with my soul, my whole heart, people that just ask the generic questions. Yeah. So be creative, and this is awesome.
Oh, thank you. And we hope you guys like this. So, intergender wrestling, it's got its ups, its downs. Main promotions are doing it, and some are wanting to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Thoughts, feelings?
Oh, 100% swipe right. I love it. I love storytelling in wrestling. That's what wrestling should be. Mm-hmm. And to me, you can tell one of the best stories between a guy and a girl.
Okay.
Also, all for intergender wrestling. I don't understand why they see it as such a negative. Women are just as much athletes as men. Mm-hmm. I love to use Chris Statlander and Kylie Ray as two great examples of they are not great women's wrestlers. Mm-hmm. They are great professional wrestlers. Mm-hmm. I saw Kylie Ray and Ethan Page tear it up at freelance wrestling. Mm-hmm. I've seen Chris Stat get kicked harder than I've ever seen anyone get kicked by John Silver. Mm-hmm. And that's why she is where she is right now, and beyond wrestling and limitless wrestling and everything else she's doing in professional wrestling right now.
You guys cross paths, I'm sure, with Ashley Vox?
Yes, I've wrestled Ashley Vox.
Now, she looks diminutive and small, but she looks like she could do a lot of damage.
She packs a punch.
Yeah. Okay, next question. So we covered one area that is reflective of 2019. Other comments that have come out, not supportive and not inclusive, but there is a diversity of different types of wrestlers. Transgender, those that are double amputees, and those that have wrestled with one limb, and trying to not be seen as, and I pardon the language if they use the term freak show, because they're different. Mm-hmm. Do they have a place?
Of course. I swipe right.
Oh, okay. So he's taking. He's got permission to swipe.
I'm swiping right on any type of inclusive gender, anything like that, amputee, any type of anything that people don't perceive as normal. Mm-hmm. That's normal. Mm-hmm. Human beings are normal. Everyone is their own person. If AG is attracted to the floor, who is anyone to judge him for liking what he likes? That's like walking down the street and having a haircut and someone being upset at you for having that haircut. That's something that just, people that are negative towards this topic are so close-minded and in my opinion, raised improperly. Everyone's unique, and I think wrestling is a form, an art form that thrives off of uniqueness. Mm-hmm. So the more unique people that are in professional wrestling, the better professional wrestling is.
He basically said everything. I would swipe right as well, but if I had the choice.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one for me. I don't really get too fired up on topics, but that's one that I stand very firm on.
Well, it's there is a very traditional mindset in keeping things very guarded, and it needs to be. I mean, you go as far back as Gorgeous George, very effeminate in his mannerisms, right? But yet, a Sonny Kiss gets the kiss of death, unfortunately. And how is one any different because they're open? Or a Nyla Rose, right? Or
it's not like even so. We listened to a certain podcast from a Southern wrestling veteran.
Oh, okay.
Without saying any names, and just like the way he had to reference Sonny, Sonny's a great friend of ours. Yeah.
A great professional wrestler.
On top of that,
a great human being. And Sonny Kiss, it doesn't matter if Sonny likes boys, girls, both, none. Yeah. Sonny Kiss can legitimately beat up most dudes. He's in the best shape of all time. So it doesn't matter.
And then to defend it saying, oh, you want to reference Adrian Street? Yeah, Adrian Street was the exact same thing that Sonny Kiss was character-wise. Some would say, I think the term exotico is a good term, or just exotic in general. I'm exotic in a sense myself, but like, be who you want to be. I don't understand why there's this weird void in 2019 that you have to refer to someone as a transvestite or just any sort of negativity, like hate speech, homophobic slurs. I've been in a all-inclusive wrestling event in Rhode Island where a fan yelled the F word. I'm not talking about the common one, the real bad one. And Josh nearly killed the guy outside because he asked him multiple times not to say it, and he just kept. He insisted on using the word. It was so cool seeing 3 pro wrestlers and seeing an entire crowd just back up everything that was happening. And just, that guy was public enemy number 1 at that point. So seeing that, knowing that there's still good in the world, or seeing Rick Cataldo runs A Matter of Pride. It's a full gay pride wrestling show. Not everyone is gay or lesbian or queer or whatever bi. I was even on a show before, and we're all one. We're all supporting one goal, whether that be your sexuality, if you have no limbs, or if you the sensory thing. Like, I thought that was really cool as well.
That AEW was just
so it's like, I'm a little off topic, but
it's okay.
I'm all for it. Like,
it's okay.
Be who you want to be.
I mean, like, this is something that not a lot of people know, but like, maybe it'll pass on a little like knowledge and help someone change their mind. But Gorgeous George, you touched on it. He was very effeminate and very flamboyant. The reason that Muhammad Ali did promos, he was one of the best promo artists in boxing history. It's the reason he made all that money. The reason he did that was because he was a professional wrestling fan and he loved Gorgeous George. So if Muhammad Ali can like someone like that, you are a real low-life piece of garbage if like the best boxer of all time models his career off of a professional wrestler and you can't get behind that. Go die.
We say this because it's June 1st. It's Pride Month, and it's really important, I think, in the message being shared. Thank you again, guys, for your time, for your energy. I'm hoping our paths cross again.
Yes,
and we will come up with a more interesting game, maybe the match game. I'll explain that another time.
Cool.
And thanks again, and take care. On behalf of the retrosexual Anthony Greene, and he probably just doesn't like anyone, Josh Briggs, this is Mark Madison for the Pro Wrestling Post podcast.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast with your host, Mark Madison. Once again, please visit ProWrestlingPost.com for interviews, blogs, and upcoming events in your area. And be sure to download the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Anchor, or whatever podcast app you prefer.